We almost run out of time and I have to speak through the end. So I get off on tangents, but they're good tangents. This class, really, you could just read the page and get out of it if you wanted to. So I don't care if I have to skip through a little bit, because you can always go back and read through the stuff and on your own time. I think when I get off on the tangents, it's helpful. And if it's not, well, sorry. Too bad, still gonna do it. All right, so today we're going to be talking about creating urgencies to buy. Buyer's market equals right time to buy. So during this, the truth is we are not in a buyer's market yet. We have not shifted into a buyer's market, right? We only know we're in a buyer's market.
Inventory.
Inventory will tell us, right? What do we need inventory-wise in the Antelope Valley to be considered a buyer's market?
6 months.
At least 6 months. Where are we at today?
Like
2 months.
3-ish.
Now, this worked great at my house when I taught this class because I was able to log in, but Mike, do you remember my password for Flex? Didn't you guys ask if I updated it, and I did?
Let me look.
Good morning.
Sure, was it? Yeah. I really thought she was good.
Yes, that's why we have Mike here. Yeah.
Text history.
The text history. Okay, so we know we need so let's look. Currently we have what? 1,000 homes on the market. How many homes did we sell last month?
300 and something.
330, real low, right? What's our average-ish?
That's something.
About 400 to 500. 500 is on our busy months, 400 on the slower months, 300 is very low.
For
Right.
the whole animal or just,
The whole Antelope Valley.
okay.
So how do we know this? We go to our market summary. We scroll down to sold listings. We look. We've sold 3,073 homes so far this year. How many months have we? How many months are we in?
8. So 7.
Oh, we're at 8 now.
We're in 8, but we've completed 7 months. So we go 3,073 divided by 7. So we're averaging 439 months or sales a month.
That's still average,
We're
right?
averaging.
So we're 353 is very low. So if we continue on this path of selling a lot lower, our supply will, our month supply will jump down a lot quicker. So we've got to keep an eye on that, because if we continue selling 400 to 500 houses a month, we only have about 2 months supply. Still really, really, really much a seller's market, right?
Right.
But if we only sell 300 homes a month, well, now we're closer to 3 months or almost 3.5 months supply.
Right.
So it really changes if we slow down on the selling side. So we've got to keep an eye on it. But saying all that, we're still very much in a seller's market. So some of the stuff today is going to be talking about if we were assuming that we were in a buyer's market. We are probably heading that direction. It looks like we're heading that direction, so some of it might not be relevant yet, but it will be relevant. Okay? We're good with that? So creating urgency to buy in a buyer's market. So the main ideas for today is perspective on creating urgency, being the expert, create the best buy list, do your homework, find it for them, facilitate decision making, and then the bottom line. Okay? If you guys have questions to this class, a lot of classes we have, normally we do breakout sessions, we talk to each other. This class is more lecture, and as much as I hear in my own voice, I love it, it's great, it's beautiful. Don't really like it that much, I do like to interact. So please ask questions, Zoom, don't be scared, I won't make you turn on your camera. Ask questions, please interact with it, it makes the class much better for me. I don't care about your experience, I just want my experience to be good. Perspective on creating urgency. Okay, so the challenge. The media creates misconceptions about buying homes today. Buyers fear paying too much. Buyers don't have any sense of urgency. Many agents think it's not a good time to buy. How accurate is this today?
Trying to get accurate now.
It's
I'm fine.
freaking on point, right? The media creates misconceptions about buying homes today. What is the media saying today?
Prices are too high, interest rates are too high. But the market will soon crash, we'll just wait.
Yep. My favorite headlines I put on at the last office meeting doing lore. Hello, can we have the notes? Mike! Mike's not here yet. Yeah, we'll get him on. We'll get him on the chat for you. Oh, give me 1 second. Let me yell at Mike to do it.
Mike.
Hey, Mike, can you get the PDF online? Thank you. He's on it. So, if you guys came to lore last week when I did the office meeting, my favorite, the headlines, right?
The price is decelerating.
Prices decelerating. What the hell does that mean? They're up 13% year over year. Yeah, they're not up 20%. 13% is still insane,
Yeah.
right? So they create misconceptions. The media, I honestly, I'm gonna sound like Trump for a second, but I don't believe anything the media ever does anymore because it is such a freaking clickbait, ridiculous industry. They don't even care about truth or anything anymore. They want clicks. Clicks, clicks. Housing prices decelerating.
Sounds scary.
It's trying to scare, it's scare tactics. During COVID, death total, whoa, death total. I'm like, do that for car accidents every day.
Right.
Right.
For the love of all that is, it's scare tactics to get you to click and to watch and to do stuff, and it works, I guess that's why they do it. But it's just like, oh my God, turn it off. I turned off the news. I'm a big news guy.
And I think that's why a lot of the buying system is changing so much because of the integration of everyone having the technology in their hands, which wasn't the case 10 years ago.
Everybody's on every 2 seconds. They know what's going on. Their phone's going off, right? And there's so much noise out there. How do you get people to click on your noise? So the media creates huge misconceptions about buying a home today. If you ask the average person, they go, it's not a good time to buy. Well, we know that's really stupid for a lot of people. It's better to rent for the next 45 years.
Right.
Let's do the math.
It's stupid.
Yeah, you're paying. Let's pay $2,500 a month. Let's do the math.
Especially now that they're going to raise it 10%.
Yeah, it's $30,000 a year. You're going to do that over 5 years.
Just throw in it.
$120,000. What if? Oh yeah, but the house prices might go down 20%. Oh. Still better than paying someone else's mortgage if you're going to be there long term. If they're going to move in 2 years, yeah, maybe it doesn't make sense. I'm okay with
What
that.
about like?
It still makes sense though.
Most likely, but I'm not going to, maybe not.
What about 3 months from now?
They're going to move 3 months from now, that doesn't make sense.
No, I'm saying to wait to buy from 3 months from now, given the market. If they want to wait their 90 days to go into a buyer's market, they think.
So
the prices
we'll
are
get
gonna-
to that. We'll get to that because there's a parse on there because that's stupid.
Yes, a lot of customers say that.
Right. No, I know that's because I'm getting that. Oh, I'm looking now, but I'm kind of waiting a little bit.
Because the media, this comes back to being the voice, being the economist, the choice for your, that's the one thing from this class take away, is be the economist of choice during this time. Get the news out there, talk about it, and people will come to trust your opinion on that. But we'll get to that as well. So buyers fear paying too much.
Rent's too much. Rent's too high.
Buyers don't have any sense of urgency, right? We're all feeling that right now because they're like, ugh. And then many agents think it's not a good time to buy. You'll hear it all the time. Agents be like, oh yeah, I'll probably wait a year.
Thank you. Thank you.
But there when you're being kicked out. I'm just kidding.
The truth, people are buying and selling homes in this market. They're absolutely buying and selling homes right now, right? No one can truly time the market. People think they can. It's not true. The market always is going up and down, but over time it always goes up. The solution, be an expert on the market and the economy. We've pounded this into your head over the time. I know I have. I don't know if George is as much as I have. but being the economist of choice, being the expert, being the expert, being the expert, being that voice of reason. Listen to the buyers. Don't argue. As soon as you start arguing, it becomes a fight. You listen, understand, acknowledge, inform. Right? Pay attention to pricing and condition. Keep paying attention to the MLS. Every single morning, with your morning coffee, you should have a routine. Your routine consists of getting on the internet, getting your coffee, yummy, right? Then you go on your 3 favorite news sources. You go on MSNBC, Fox Business, Forbes, whatever. Read 1 or 2 articles, maybe 3, to really understand what's going on and start forming your opinions. Then you go to the MLS, and you go to your hot sheets. Well, let's just do the quick hot sheets. Look at your new listings. Go, ooh, wow, look how these, wait, what, 3 under 300. That's rare, right? Look at all of them. See the prices, see the area, have a good understanding for them. Then, what else are you looking at?
Closed, pendings.
I don't
Price
care about
change.
closed that much, to be honest. Price changes, baby. That's the big one. 62.
Damn, in the last 24 hours?
I think everything is dropping.
Woo!
I know.
Why are we looking at price changes? To see what people are screwing up, right? Let's see why are these prices coming down? What areas? What do they price too high? We want to see what's going on, right? So there's residential homes, a lot of dropping, right? So we're looking at those every day, so we know what's going on. And then why are we looking at expireds?
See who we have to call.
See who we're calling, right? Maybe dropping off a package. How do you get numbers?
Yeah, like the phone
So
number.
sometimes the agents put them on there for you. It's really nice. They'll have the homeowners and their number. Most people don't do that anymore, but a lot of times they are. There's a lot of different ways to pull people's numbers. You can pull title,
Oh.
and then once you get title, you can try to do a number search. You could pay, like White Pages is one you could pay for, and it'll give you what you think their numbers are. There's a company that'll just send you expireds every single day. It's Arch Agent. We'll do it, and you have to pay for it though. So there's a lot of ways to do it. But yeah, here's all the expireds. Some land. Some random
Two,
stuff.
yeah. Except for that one. Like,
That's a big shop.
yes.
That in Portia.
Shit, 108 days. So anyways, so those are the ones you want to look at every morning, right? Do you guys have that as part of your routine?
See.
Not yet.
Not every morning.
Every morning. What else you got to do in the morning? Part of your job.
Cold call.
You're cold calling at, okay, wake up earlier, because you ain't cold calling
Right,
at
right,
6 in the
yeah.
morning or 6:30
Definitely not.
or 7 or 8 or first thing when you first come in or whatever it is, right? It should be a part of your morning routine is all I'm saying, right? You want to start really digesting to be that resource to understand what's going on. You need to be able to digest it and be able to speak on it and read some stuff that's consistent for you. Whatever you
Here, real
So
quick.
don't you, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you were just saying, I don't know if that was just for this particular example, but you're saying I'm not really looking at the close. But wouldn't a closed, if you're looking at what's closed over the last 30 days, wouldn't that give you an idea of what people are what's actually going on?
Sure. Yeah, you can look at them. I already know it's closing. Your cookie cutter nice homes that are dressed up nice, they're closing really easily, no problem.
Got it.
But yes, so if you're looking at still really understanding the market and you want to be able to walk into a home and tell people what's selling and what's not, look at what's closed and what's expired and the difference. So price is 90% of it. I don't care if the house looks like
Right.
that much. If it's priced right, it'll sell in any market.
Right.
Better the price, the more likely it is to sell.
I have a question. So what would you say to your client if they're telling you, well, I see all the houses are lowering their prices. So isn't that what they are believing, that their houses are dropping in prices?
I'd say they're more competitive, and then now you're a great chance for you to get in and maybe get some incentives, maybe closing cost cover.
Because like you said, they're all waiting like 2-3 months for the market to crash. But I don't know like how much they're expecting. What is the most that it's going to be dropped? Like
So
how many
2 and 3 months. If someone said we'll get to this because there is a part about here about this about overcoming those objections. But if someone says I'm going to wait 2 or 3 months for the prices to go down, I say great. So that way you can pay a higher interest rate.
Oh, okay.
So great. You can pay the bank more. You can pay the buyer more. But why are you gonna pay rent in the meantime?
Right.
Okay.
They're not gonna lower interest rates.
Yes.
And besides, if they're thinking that way, it's not one of their priorities, so I don't
Mhm.
know exactly how we're looking at to actually deceive the buyer, you know, on that area, or just not care about whether or not they change their mind to do that move.
If someone is not that sure about buying right now, that's fine. So you just, the thing is, if you do a great needs analysis and see why they want to buy, and if they're like, well, I've always wanted to be a homeowner and I'm paying rent, it's all this, well then we know if they're gonna be out here for any sort of time and they're paying rent, it's stupid to not buy. History will show us
So
4%.
it's not even the numbers, it's just their mind is not set to buy.
Starts with the mind.
Yeah.
That's what we're coming to.
The mind evokes feeling, a feeling evokes action. So if you want somebody to do, you need to hit the feels. The feels make everything happen. I did something really stupid yesterday that I had no desire to do ever again because I don't want to deal with it. I have a puppy at home. His name's Mason. He's 2 and he gets into everything. He's my son, right? My daughter's wanted a dog forever, and I've said no, 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 no. But her birthday's on Friday, or on Saturday, and so my dumbass self
But,
went and got a puppy for her,
aww.
and she doesn't know it yet. The reason why I did it is because the feels. No logic behind it. It's stupid. So dumb. I'm finally sleeping from babies. Like, why did I do this to myself? Right?
Another kid.
Why would I do this? Why? Because the little girl tugs on the heart, and the little girl is gonna get what she wants. And I'm an idiot, and I'm gonna sacrifice for it. But the thought went to the little girl for the feelings, right? And that little girl, when she sees the puppy that she's asked for the last 2 years, and I told her no, 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 she's gonna be in love, right? And so the feeling made the action happen. So the feeling always drives action. Normally it's pain or pleasure, one or the other that makes us do it. So pain or pleasure. So if someone wants to buy, you have to figure out the feelings, the pain of paying someone else's mortgage, the pain of not having their own home, and then push on that to get there. But we'll come to that. I'm gonna skip all that stuff. So, be the expert. Invest time in research. Top dollar productive activities. You're an agent. These are the 5 things that can make you the most money. 1, lead generate. That's why it's our top 20%. We should be doing it every day because that's what makes us money. 2, lead follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. We know this. We know follow-up is key. Our lead generation is only as good as our follow-up. All right? 3, going on appointments. You set the appointment. 4, negotiating the contracts. That's what we love doing. Close to money day. 5, market research. Understanding the market, knowing the market is one of the most productive things we can do with our time to being who we are, right? Why is that?
You gotta know what's selling.
You gotta, people have to know, like, and trust you. Know, like, trust. They might know you, they might like you, but if they don't trust you with their home buying purchase because they don't trust that you're smart enough, how do you overcome that? When someone asks you questions about the market, you can speak on that at a high level. When someone asks me a question about what do I think is going to happen over the next time, when I go, well, I go into inflation and what the feds are doing and how they're going to stop it, and they are going to cause the market to slow down and interest rates happen, and I say this 6 months ago, and then it happens, people go, oh, wow, you're really smart. I go, well, not really, I pay attention and then I report what I see, right? And I hear and I just say it. Make sense?
Yes.
So then there's trust now with me because 6 months ago, we kept saying interest rates are going to go up, go up, go up, go up. They're going to be up. I said they could go up to 9% easy, maybe even 10. And I go, oh, that's crazy. Now they're already at 6. Real quickly, they're going to raise them again, right? So when you can speak of what's going to happen and you see it, and it's not difficult if you pay attention, you just say what other people are saying, right? People start to get trust with who you are. What's the 6th most productive thing you can do? It's not on here.
Social media. Have your knowledge.
You're doing it.
Have the knowledge.
Training.
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 Oh.
Just making yourself better. right? Those are really the 6 things you should be doing. Okay. The tale of two markets. We talked about this last time, right? About being out of the market, the way the condition of the house is versus the comps, versus the price versus the comps. The lower the price, the better the condition, right? The more likely the house is going to sell. The poorer the condition, the higher the price, more likely it's not going to sell. Correct?
Correct.
We all understand how this works?
Yes.
Pretty self-explanatory, nothing too crazy. By the way, side note, when I was doing it from my little studio, I'm going to ask for some feedback at the end because I'm trying to make that studio nicer because I do a lot of other recordings and stuff like that. So keep that in mind from yesterday because I wanted to see how it worked with the room and stuff like that. So just at the end, I don't know, side note, I was going to ask about that and I forgot at the beginning. Okay, the tale of two markets in this seller's market. We just got out of this market. This is what it was. You could have a crap house and you could be way ask price, stuff sold.
Yes.
Instantly.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Does the pattern of each market looks about similar, or there's always a change?
So this was written in 2009.
So similar.
It's always the same.
The same.
It's a lot of, yeah, there's always differences, minute differences in any changing market, why it's changing, stuff like that. 2009 was a big difference because lending was crazy and it was a cliff and we fell off the cliff, right? And a lot of people saw it coming. They're like, what the hell are we doing with all this financing? People can't afford this stuff. They were given seconds on houses. People were buying boats. They were getting their kitchens redone. There was all this extra money. People were just banks were just loaning like crazy, right? Then all of a sudden people, oh, we can't afford this anymore, and they stopped paying, and then it was just a massive cliff. And then all the banks repossessed at the same time, and they caused a major up spike in houses on the market. It was just craziness, right? So every shift is different, but the results are always the same, right? People's emotions they get uncertain, things don't sell as fast, things sit around. It's the same thing every single time. So buyer's market. This is where we're headed, right? We were here, we're headed here. So if you're going into a listing presentation and you're going with somebody, it's a good idea to bring these two slides and show them this is where we were, this is where we're going, right? So having great condition of the house is required, or having an amazing price. You've got to fall in this threshold. If your house is not in great condition, if it's in poor condition, then your price has to be so low that brings you closer to here, right? If your house is in great condition, you still got to be pretty reasonable with what you're doing on the price. This is just to help show buyers or potential sellers what's going on, right? Good time to buy. So some of this is not yet, and it will maybe happen. But we'll just go through it anyways, because this is being some of the reasons. This is what I was saying earlier, that we're not quite there yet, but we're on our way to that. So mortgage interest rates are low and stable. No, not yet. Yet, yes, they are. So what does that mean? Why did I just say no and yes? Because if we just come out of where we just were, interest rates were really silly low, and everyone was like, oh, that's so great. Everyone was refinancing, interest rates are incredibly low. When not that long ago, 5% was pretty standard. 4% interest rate was really good, right? So a 6% interest rate historically is still lower than historic average. Historic average is 8%. So if someone asks how interest rates are high right now, you're going to wait a year and then pay higher? What do we think is going to happen with interest rates over the next year? Increase or flatline? We think they're going to, so Fannie Mae thinks they're going to flatline. I think they're crazy. The Fed's come out and said like they're probably going to raise it again. How do we know? What's a key indicator that we keep an eye on? Inflation, right? When do those numbers come out?
At the beginning of the month.
So yeah, quarterly. So this is one thing we pay attention to. So the consumer price index, right? So what is the consumer price index? Basically our inflation calculator. If you were to go to Costco, fill up a bunch of random crap in a massive basket, a bunch of stuff that you could put in there. It's how much more did that basket cost you now than it did last quarter, right? So if it's 7-8% higher, and we've continued to be on 9% trend, you could assume what? Interest rates are going to keep going up. They're trying to get people to stop spending money, to bring inflation down. Okay? So, a good indicator for us is what is that consumer price index doing? What's our inflation rate? What does that do? And that'll tell us, are mortgage rates going to keep going up or not? They're going to keep going up, right? So, our mortgage rates are low and stable. They're low. They're not stable. They're going up. What happens typically in the history over time when we go into recession?
Prices drop.
So we're in recession now, officially in recession. I don't care what the administration says to kind of spin whatever they do. For the history of ever, every economist knows 2 negative GDPs is recession. That's how we've always looked back at the past, right? So we're in recession. So what does the Fed do? Is they lower rates to get us into recession, basically, or raise rates to get us into recession to slow down inflation. Typically they overreact because the government's always chasing, right? And things slow down so bad and inflation gets better, then they go, oh, we got to jumpstart it. We got to do stuff. So they lower rates, they do new things to try to jumpstart the economy. So we could expect a year, 18 months at the most, that we'd have lower rates, stuff like that would be coming back around.
So what you just said, I guess, if someone is waiting for that time, how do you combat that?
We'll get to it.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Quick question.
Huh?
So just based on what you said, when it comes to economy, the feds will higher the rates to lower spending, and then they will lower the rates to motivate spending.
Yes. That's typically how it happens if you look back at the history. So all we can do is look back at the history and show us what's done. If you look back and see every recession that we've ever had in recorded history, at the end of the recession, the Feds lower rates to get the economy going again.
After they caused it for it.
Normally they cause it, right?
I don't think that the whole is gonna affect everybody. It's just affecting certain groups, like the outside investors that came from the actual Putin movements they did over there. It doesn't really affect everyone, but it is affecting us as a nation somehow, our prices, because we're seeing that.
I mean, I think everything's connected. Everything's, I'm not going to get political, but if you just look historically, anything that happens anywhere affects us. I mean, gas prices has a trickle effect on everything, right? When you give out trillions of dollars to people, duh. Sorry, but if you just give out a bunch of money during COVID, this is going to happen, right? That's like one of the major things about even printing money, right? That causes this thing to happen. So, there's no surprises here, by the way. So anyways, if you look in the history, like a strong economy, typically there's an ebb and flow. Every 10 years, you're gonna flow back and forth. You need a recession to reset things. We have been in the longest recovery recorded. So in 2007, we actually officially started the recession in 2006 and ended in 2008 with a negative GDP, right? It was 18 months with the longer ones. The housing market bottomed out in 2009. We've been recovering since then. It's been about a 12, 13-year recovery. We've expected this to happen before COVID happened. So typically they don't happen during an election cycle, but no matter who won the last election, we kind of expected to have a little bit of a recession, just to kind of reset things. Then COVID happened, threw everything through a loop, made the craziness went on, right? And we shot up, but now we're kind of feeling those effects. So it's a part of natural, it needs to happen. It's just interest rates do need to go up. We do need to slow down these things. We do need to have the cycle happen, all right? So strong economy. Not yet. Obviously, the economy is in a weird spot right now. Unemployment's doing well, yet there's a lot of people not looking for jobs. So there's a lot of weird things right now. A lot of people are like, oh, the employment's pretty good. It is. Anything below 4% is good, but yet we have the highest amount of people that are able to work not looking for jobs, which is really weird. So there's a lot of good time right now. There's a great resignation, is what they're calling this time, where people are quitting their jobs, getting other jobs, finding where they can work from home. It's a very common thing right now. So jobs are there, but there's a massive amount of people that aren't looking, which is just causing.
They got very spoiled.
But they did, right? And saying that, as we go through this probably downturn, we'll come out of it. There probably will be a stronger economy coming out of it. And then low unemployment, we are in a low unemployment right now, yet there's a lot of people, like we said, not looking, so it's a weird time. So we'll keep an eye on these things as we come up through we'll come through the shifting times over the next year. The things to look for to being really strong reasons for people to buy, especially over the next year. It really will be. Determine willingness. Ask, do you want to risk missing a house that is perfect for you because you're waiting for a sliver of savings that may or may not be there? So someone says, I'm waiting for the housing market. We've had this question a lot. Let's hit it now. I'm waiting for the housing market to go down 4 or 5 months from now.
Do you want to risk missing a house that is perfect for you because you're waiting for a sliver of savings that may or may not be there?
I'd say, great. What indicators show that the housing is going to come down in the next 3 to 6 months?
None.
0. There's not one major player out there thinks the housing market's going to go reverse. The average consensus is it's going to go up 6% in sales price. We're up 13% this year. There's no inventory. Housing builders haven't built. So if you look at the build, real quick, if you look at the building that we're supposed to build over the last 10 years, so in about 2016 or 15, we fell off with the new home builds. The price of building became so expensive, especially in California with no water. Nobody's built. We're 3 million homes behind where we should have been on average to build new homes for people. There's no inventory. People don't have the homes. NAR, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, what's the other 3?
FHA.
They all say between 12 and 4% of prices going up over the next years, and consistently up. The average is being about 6.5% between all of them. So great, you could wait for prices to be 6.5% higher, and your interest rate will be up. That's just according to the professionals.
So how do we educate our clients? Because I have 2 store clients that they're saying, oh yeah, but I see everybody dropping the prices. So just because they see everybody dropping their prices, as you saw, like...
So not everybody, that's just incorrect.
I know, but they think like a lot of people...
So you need to show them the data. So how do you educate them is you have a really strong buyer's presentation when you meet with them. Many agents make the mistake is someone calls and says, hey, I kind of want to see this house. Okay. We run out there and we show them the house. We're all excited. Well, prices are going to come down. Well. No, don't do that. Learn from my mistakes. I did that too. I ran out there and showed houses. Don't do that. Say, great. I'd love to come in and we could sit down for 30 minutes. We could go over everything. We could talk and then we could go see some homes. Right? When they come in, you educate them. Don't waste your freaking time. So you have to have a strong buyer's presentation. What's a strong buyer's presentation? I sat down with people and I pulled up the MLS and I would go to the market so they didn't think I was lying, and I would go over it with them. All right? I would show them everything that's going on. I would show them that the sold price to list price ratio is 100%. 99.9%. We've been over 100. That's insane.
You talked about absorption 2 days ago, and I have no idea what the absorption is.
Absorption rate is what we talked about earlier today. So let's pretend that we didn't take another listing forever.
Okay.
How many months would it take for us on our average, how many we sell a month before we run out of inventory? So if we sell 400 homes or 500 homes a month, we have 2,000 homes, it'd be 500, 1,000, 15,
So
4
like
months.
having too much on stock.
It's just stock. That's all it is that.
So it's bad when it's going up?
Yep.
Okay.
No, I mean, it's not bad. All that means is we have more inventory. That's all it means.
Okay.
Right? So when someone says, oh, it's our inventory is going up, it is, but we're looking for a 5 to 6 month supply before we have an even market. We're still at 2.2. We're not even close to not a buyer's market, right?
So buyer's market's like 6, right? 6, 7.
Yep. So what I would do is I would show them this, and then if you guys come to my Lord meetings, when I show you the slides of what Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, you have them in your email. Go search slides. Mike Serrano sends them out. I show you the slides where there's graphs of what they think the average sales prices are going to do. Not you. What Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, NAR, all of them are thinking the housing market's going to do over the next couple of years.
Even Zillow and,
Everyone expects the prices to go up because of sales price. Now look, I don't predict the future, that it could come crashing down. It could totally happen. Nobody knows for certain, right? And then my favorite slide is the slide that shows, which you guys all have, I've shown it many times, it shows the housing prices, year over years, how much they've gone up, right? And if you bought in 2006, at the peak of the peak, the major crash, and you draw a line from 1993, and it goes up, we've already passed the line of that housing prices going up 4% year over year over year over year over year. The value is there over time. So the best time to buy a house is the same time as the best time to plant a tree, which is
Today.
yesterday. And then the next best time is today, if you're here over time.
So as if I'm a buyer and you just told that to me about the, it's still going up, the house pricing is gonna go up, 6% or whatever on home sales. And then I say, but with inflation though, they usually do drop the interest rates to bat inflation. So would there be some lower interest rates in the future that I could take advantage of?
So
The
yeah,
house
great.
will
Well,
go up.
great. When that time comes, we'll refi.
Right.
Perfect. Awesome.
Otherwise,
And you
the
probably-
house
and
will-
not
Because you're
equity
saving,
costs that
right,
time.
because you're saving on not getting the pricing increase over time, even though you may get a higher interest rate now, we refinance later and you're in a better situation.
It almost never makes sense not to buy. It's
Right.
very rare.
Yeah.
It's very rare where it doesn't make sense to buy. Great, do an ARM. Adjustable rate mortgage.
Right.
Yeah, you get a low rate now, and if you bleed that much, yeah, then you could
Right.
refi, or you could lock in. I mean, ARMs are, I know, so it depends on the generation. So ARMs back in 2000, like people were got burned by them because they didn't know what they were doing. The lending was pretty rough. So people have this mindset ARMs are like the devil, and that's not true. ARMs have very specific what happens. So every year they readjust, but they lock at the most they can go up is 0.5%, and then they lock at 6.5 long term if that's where it ends up being.
Right.
So I did this with my brother building a house. He called me and he's like, hey, I'm thinking about for the building loan, I could do an ARM for the first 10 years and then it locks in for the next 20, or I could just go conventional. But I'm freaking out about the ARM because of the rate could go up and all that. And I was like, okay, let's talk it through. What's the ARM? What's the savings? So we did the math, right? He was saving $230 a month on the ARM for the first whatever, and it could only go up a certain percentage. Each after 3 years it went up, and it could only go up a certain amount, and after a couple of years after that. So we did the math. He ended up saving over the first part of the loan $40,000. And so, okay, what's the negative? Let's max it out now and see what that percentage would be. Okay, so what can you do with that $40,000 now? Can you get a better return than the 2% percentage you're going to lose with? That $40,000 is almost a down payment for another rental property.
Right.
So we did the math, and it made absolute sense for him to do the ARM. He did it. At that point, if our interest rates come way down, he can refi and lock into something cheaper.
Right.
If they stay high, he still saves so much money up front, he could reinvest that. Now, most people won't. They'll just spend the money on dumb stuff. He's actually good with his money. He will use that to a better advantage. He's good with his money, right? So it depends on the person, but the ARM will make sense, and it gives you a way to do different things. So obviously, you're not the lending expert. You just need to know enough to go have them ask the question, and then do some math. Okay. Did I answer your question about is now a good time to buy?
Yeah.
Right, it is, almost always. It's so rare that it wouldn't be. People are talking about, oh, if I move next year, all right, yeah, maybe. If you're only here for 1 year, because it may just be flat, it may go down a little bit, at the time you pay realtor fees, you'll probably be upside down, you have to pay to move, maybe. But how much are you gonna pay to move versus how much are you gonna pay to rent? I mean, there might be a bigger risk there, but still, it's like, keep it as a rental. I mean, rental prices aren't going down.
Yeah,
It
right.
just went up 10%.
It's going up 10%.
Everything, right? So and inflation is, like people are like, oh, but inflation is going crazy. Great, your property is a great hedge against inflation. You'd rather have your money sitting in the bank where it's losing 10% every freaking 3 months because of inflation? Or would you prefer 10% over year? Or would you prefer it going to a property that's gaining value,
Right.
And live well, right?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So becoming the expert, what tools do you guys use to communicate your knowledge of the economy and the local market?
Flex.
How are you communicating it though?
Video.
Video?
Media.
Social media? John's doing a good job with it. What else are you guys doing?
Talking about it.
Just in person? Just
Maybe-
talking it out
Maybe
loud?
seminars or on that.
You have a lot of tools out there. It's never been easier to get in front of a group of people, right? Like, there's a lot of tools out there to do stuff. It's just up to you to figure out what you're going to do. Be consistent. Doing it once isn't enough. Consistency is key. Where can you get reference information you need? You guys know Flex, websites, us, your lower reports. I do a lot of the work for you. Every month I send you those lower reports. I do it so you don't have to. Take advantage.
I need to get with Mike if I'm not getting the emails, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You should get the emails from the office.
Okay.
After every lower report, he sends out, almost every meeting, he sends out, oh my gosh, it's already 10. Time flies when you're doing awesome.
We've been talking too, right?
Yeah.
Did it come from you or from the office?
The office, it comes from Mike. I think it's the office, and so make sure you don't, a lot of people are like, I don't get it, and then we go and look, and it looks like you've unsubscribed. I'm like, well, don't unsubscribe from the freaking office. Like, sorry, but we can only do so much for you. I was like, we never get anything. I'm like, you unsubscribed. Mike sends them out, so after we do them, and those slides, Mark Chappell does a good job, but those are all, every one of those could be a social media post for the month. Would they be a talking point
Right.
of what's going on and what to do and what not to do? Like, just take them and make them your own.
Hey, what is it? Lord?
Lore, so I said lore, it's language of real estate.
Oh, okay.
I would call it lore. We normally do it when we do our awards. The third office meeting of the month is normally when we do it, to let
Do you
people
send
know.
those to our Keller Williams email?
Whatever email you give us, when you sign up with us, is the email we use for the communication. If you don't get them, go talk to Mondo up front, or Mike, or Vic. They can double check to see what we were using to send out there, so.
How do we get rid of our massive mailing?
I'm trying to find something of you like Gabber.
So remember to go to Gabber though, don't ignore Gabber all the way, because you gotta go.
I know.
I didn't get the email.
I
but
voted for
I've
you
been
to
seeing
do
that
something
it was
about
supposed
it.
to go out, but I didn't see them voting.
But I haven't read. They sent so many.
It
that you don't
doesn't
know
come
which
from
ones are
Gabbar, it
which
comes
ones
from
are-
like, I forget what it's called. We'll go over it today, but, anyways, let's keep going because we're running out of time. Create a Best Buy list. It's a great mofer, especially with what's coming up, is creating a list. It's super easy. Best Buys can be anywhere. REOs, HUD Exchange, foreclosure list, FSBOs, price reductions in MLS, new homes on the market, builders promotions. How can we use this to get leads today?
Social media.
How? What do we?
Post it.
Run an ad. Looking for a deal? Here's all the homes every day that have lowered their price. Then you just set them up with a drip. Every time houses are lowered, they get an email. You can do that in Flex. You can do that in your website. That's all you gotta do. You just gotta figure out a way that people might want to come look. REOs. See every REO that hits the market, email to you immediately. Click here. Get their information. Go into Flex. You take that as a whole. This is an REO, they get an email. It's not hard to do. You guys know how to do that?
I don't.
I'll do it real quick, all right? So you go quick search. I don't think you have on here an automatic, no, I think you gotta type it in. So we're gonna look REO.
Or is it?
So it says fields,
Sales type.
no, yeah, sales type, is that what it is?
I think it's sales type.
Yep, you're right. So we're gonna do real estate owned. There's 4. Not a lot. Not a lot at all.
I was just looking last night.
And then you do save. You save the search. Call it REO, or whatever, description, all REOs. Now it's gonna say contacts. New, existing, if you wanna put them on there. They've updated this, right? You can do a new contact, put their name and email. Put yourself if you wanna get the emails, right? And you can create them a portal. But once you hit yes, save, you see this add a subscription. You can now put in there every single time a new property and an ASAP. And every time the new REO hits the MLS, it'll email them that REO. It's that simple. All you do is ask for people for their info, you throw them on an automatic search. Every time an REO hits, they'll get it. It's that simple. Investors.
Good for investors.
Calling all investors. Every time an REO hits, get an email to you directly. Click here. Boom, you just got an investor's email and phone number.
Do we do that through the campaign?
Sure.
Yeah.
However the hell you want to do it. Put it on a billboard. Put a radio ad together. Do something. Don't do a radio ad though if you don't have the money because that's expensive. All right. So these are all ways basically to figure out it's just a mofer that you could add out there to get people to click, make a list, get people interested in it, right? Do your homework. Does the market agree? Time on market, the list price, conditions, selling price. We've been over this 100 times. Got to know what's going on in the market. Use your list. Don't give the list out. Offer access to best buys, right? Don't just give the list. You don't say, here's the best buys, and then you show them. You say, click here to get them emailed to you. And they click here, and you need their email, their name, and their phone number. And then as soon as you get the info, then you, I got a lead. Then you send them that best buy list. And you call them, hey, I got your email, and just let you, what exactly are you guys looking for? Are you looking for some deals? Great, I'll send them over to you, let me know if you need anything. Forming the relationship, build a lead, right? Show houses on the list to your customers. These are the houses that will sell fastest. So for example, if you do an REO, here's the REOs, here's your REO list. You may want to go do a video walkthrough or a call or whatever, or on social media. Here's some of this, here's the list of REOs, I'm just checking them out today. If you want to be a part of the list and know when they come on, click down below, click the link above, however the heck you do that. Woo! Whatever you do on the tickety talk, make yourself look cool. Right? They click, you're doing it, you're combining that to get leads to showcasing you're doing that, you're that person. Find it for them. Ask about their motivation and urgency. So if you're not doing a great needs analysis when you're meeting with your buyers, you're doing yourself a disservice. Why do they have to do it? Are they relocating? Are they getting out of town? Are they moving, right? Some family friends that called me. They're moving to New York, upstate New York, to finally go back to where they want to be. They got a job. They have to go, right? I'm going to be put like, they have to move. It's not like a, I just want to move up, or I don't have, they have to. So they have to price it right. Dissatisfaction with where they live. Let's just say they hate their neighborhood. They're like, we just hate the neighborhood. Our neighbors are total a-holes. So every time I go over there, I'm like, hey, how are the a-holes? Oh, I hate those a-holes. Let's get this house built. Right? Life changes. Second home. Maybe they're having a baby. It's too small. Right? You've got to push on those needs. What's the need? What's the need? What's the need? What's the need? Needs affect the emotions. The emotion affects the action. So I keep turning it off. That's why. Advantages of home ownership. If you don't have the advantages of home ownership, talking about it or being about it or being that specialty person right now, you get a big tax break at the end of the year. Oh, that interest rate's higher. Well, great. You get to write off more at the end of the year. You can write off that interest. $15,000 you get to write off at the end of the year. Woohoo, look at you. Build equity. Stop building somebody else's. Investment. It's forced investment. It's forced investment. You're forced to pay down the house that you live in so you have equity in the home that you're at. Show what they'll buy. Knowing what they need and want. Knowing what's best buys in your market. So we're going to be coming into more of a market that's been different than before. When your person needed a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and they wanted a pool home, and they had to live on the west side, well, guess what? They had 2 homes. So that's it. There's going to be 40. You're actually going to have to do your job as a buyer's agent and really know what they want and what looks good for them. And be strategic with what you show them and understand what they want. So you can find them the best home and go show them the 3 or 4 properties that best match what they want. Right? It's all about leveraging your time. In a more standard market, buyers get crazy. There's hundreds of homes they can go look at, right? Oh, there's some more around. You have to manage your time, otherwise you'll be showing houses nonstop. You'll be showing 20, 30 houses and not writing offers. If you're showing more than 20 homes and not writing offers, you are not doing something right. It's not them. Your presentation wasn't good enough, you're not narrowing it down good enough, you're not doing a good enough job figuring out what home best for them. Buyers who want a deal. Learn their definition of what a deal is. I'm just looking for a deal. Okay, what does that mean to you? Well, it might be like, oh, I just want to pay below the appraised value. It might be they just don't want to pay their closing cost. Okay, deal for it. What if I get your closing cost covered? Save you $10,000. Yeah! Be great. That's easy. Go write a full price offer or a $5,000 above asking price and get closing costs covered. Houses sit on the market for 30 days. They'll do that.
Yeah.
All right? Communicate the consequences of some deals. So some people really want a good deal, right? I want a good deal on the house. It's great. Why is the house below market value? Something's probably wrong with it. You know, like for example, I do have a good buddy who's starting to look. He's really good at fixing homes and doing stuff and handy. He likes that stuff. So he is looking for something that's a little lower price that he could put his own time and he likes to do it. So for him, great. But for most people, it's a nightmare. Most people like a hot water heater. It's like, oh my God, I gotta do a hot water heater. A water heater is easy, guys. It's not hard to do. But most people, that's a big deal, right? So what is a deal to some people is not a deal to others, and it might be a headache that they don't want to deal with. A young couple with a young kid and a new puppy might say, I want a deal, they're being willing to do the work, and they realize that they're not willing to do the work, right? So you want to be really clear up front with what that is. Oh my goodness gracious, we are so close to out of time. Finding motivated buyers in homes they'll buy. We're going to skip that. Facilitate the decision making. Features versus benefits, right? So the fireplace, the pool, the large master bedroom, great. The benefits affect the emotion. What does the emotion affect? The decision making. Emotion affects decision making, right? It's quiet, it's cozy, it's spacious. Ooh, some fancy. Cost of waiting to buy. Delay the tax benefits. Delay the building of equity in a new home. Need to view more homes. Selection of best homes is limited. Market will shift and great buys will be gone. Could happen. We could only be in a little level market for a year and then all of a sudden we pick back up again. That could absolutely happen. And so it might be the best time to buy in the next 3 months because the prices are going to keep going up another 10 years. Could. We don't know. Nobody could predict it for sure. Remove the fears. Fear of paying too much. Do a good CMA. Tell them what you think the price is worth. Really understand. We did it together last time. I showed you how to do one. Just do a good one. Tell them what you think the price is and remove the fears from that. You have an appraisal. You know what it's going to be worth. They're going to get the appraisal. Fear of making commitment. Buyback guaranteed option periods. Those are pretty rare where we're at. But yeah, sure. Incentives and concessions. All right? Now's the time for buyers to get incentives and concessions. That's never wasn't happening before.
No.
What's not happening? So improvement allowances, carpet paint, pay early, move out, renters or pay mortgages, mortgage on buyer's home for a period of time, paid buyer's closing costs, lease purchase options, mortgage buy downs. That one, mortgage buy downs. People are freaked out about it. Great, let's get the seller to buy down your rate. Seller financing. Maybe they own it outright. They'd be willing to carry the note. Never know. And then other extras as well. There's a lot of things you could get the sellers to do right now that were not happening before. Close the deal. Facilitate the decision making by closing. Is this the house you want to buy? If you love this house, someone else will too. Good houses sell fast in any market. That's true. The next person who looks at this house could make an offer. How would you feel if someone else bought this home tomorrow? That's the one I always like to use because I don't like to push people, but I do like them to see reality. I go, how would you feel if you found out tomorrow that we waited and now they've accepted an offer? Would you be okay and you can live with it, or would you be devastated? That would be pretty sad. All right, let's do that for them. Let's get in there. The bottom line, you need to be an expert on the local market and economy. You need to educate your buyers. You need to articulate why this is a great time to buy. You need to, what is that word?
What word?
Sage? Buyer's fears?
Assuage.
Assuage?
Like push to the
Where-
side.
Assuage.
Oh, a swage.
Never heard that word before. I like it. It's good. I'm going to use it.
But what does it mean?
Push aside.
Push to the side.
Create a best buy list. Show them the houses meet their needs and wants. Facilitate the decision making. All right, guys. Always make an action plan as you get out of here. We have the office meeting starting. Everyone's jumping on for the office meeting. But make an action plan. The training is only good if you put it into action. If you don't do anything, then you're just a professional learner. What are professional learners?
Not yours.
Losers. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I'm just making it up. They're vacationers. Yeah, put it into action, guys. Put it into action. Put it into action. All right, thanks, guys. The next one will be on Tuesday. I'll be doing that as well. Now we're going to jump into the office meeting, so stick around. I got more good info there as well. I got to get some water. Been talking for an hour.
It's your video.